Yo, what is up, y'all? It's Cone back here again today with another video. In case you somehow haven't heard, Kevin Durant has requested a trade from the Brooklyn Nets a few days ago, in a move that really shocked the NBA world. And we had free agency that started later that day, but really everything kind of feels like we're just waiting at this point for Kevin Durant to get moved. We don't know where he's going to go or what the trade package is going to look like. And that's what's really interesting to me. Because we just saw Rudy Gobert get traded for like 4 first-round picks and a pick swap, including some solid players. Like, what is Kevin Durant going to bring in a haul? Like 30 first-round picks? It's supposed to be one of the biggest trade packages, if not the biggest trade package we've ever seen. A consensus top 5 guy on a 4-year contract, one of the best scorers we've ever seen, top 15 player of all time. It's kind of insane. So, today, I'm here to react to some of your suggested trade packages for Kevin Durant. I'll talk about some of my favorite fits and what I think some of the best packages are for him out there. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you do enjoy. Also, comment down below and let me know where you think Kevin Durant's going to end up. We're going to go ahead and start off with a trade package from Keegan, who suggests that the Warriors could trade Jordan Poole, Andrew Wiggins, Jonathan Kuminga, James Wiseman, and a first-round pick for Kevin Durant. I will say it's probably going to take more than one first-round pick in this deal, but this is a really good package. The Golden State Warriors probably do have one of the best packages in the entire league. You have Andrew Wiggins, who is a all-star. He was this past season, one of the best 3-and-D wings in the NBA. Jonathan Kuminga and James Wiseman, 2 top 10 picks who have a ton of potential. And if you can get them to throw in Jordan Poole if you're the Nets, it's going to be hard to pass up on this deal outside of all the other ones. You get a ton of young players. You could probably get a few more picks from them. Jordan Poole is a really fun young player who probably would have been the 6th man of the year, or at least in conversations for it if he'd started a little less games. He's a guy who has a ton of star potential. He just kind of showed out for the NBA champion Golden State Warriors over the course of this past season. It's a really good trade package. You've got young assets to go into a rebuild, a young star piece in Jordan Poole, a lot on the table there. So the Golden State Warriors, as scary as it would be to see Kevin Durant go back to them, they have a really good trade package. So this is a pretty good one. I think it would take more picks, but it's a really good starting point. Next, we have the New Orleans Pelicans, who I think are a kind of a sleeper team to pick up Kevin Durant. I think it's really interesting that he could go there. But this trade is Kevin Durant for Brandon Ingram, Kira Lewis Jr., Trey Murphy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 first-round picks. Now, because of Stepien rules and stuff like that, some of these are probably going to have to be pick swaps, but you get the drill. It's a lot of picks, plus you're giving up an all-star in Brandon Ingram, but imagine pairing Kevin Durant with Zion Williamson, as well as you keep CJ McCollum in this trade to form that big 3. You still have Valanciunas. You quickly become one of the best teams, if not the best team, in the Western Conference with this trade package. It's really intriguing if you're the Pelicans. And if you're the Nets, if you can bring in an all-star caliber player like Brandon Ingram, which they reportedly do want in a trade, they want a guy that can kind of be their young star, Ingram makes a lot of sense. You get Kira Lewis Jr., who is a younger player. He's been really injury prone, but maybe there's something there. A really fun 3-and-D player in Trey Murphy, who's still plenty young, and a billion first-round picks, some of which are coming from the Lakers, who have been really hit or miss recently. The Pelicans just got Dyson Daniels with one of those Lakers picks from the AD trade. So this is a really interesting package. I like this a lot if I'm the Nets, and if I'm the Pelicans, I'm strongly considering this. I know you've got to give up Brandon Ingram, who has been huge for your franchise, but if you could upgrade him to Kevin Durant, you quickly become one of the best teams in the West. Next, we have the Brooklyn Nets trading with the Miami Heat. We've got Kyle Lowry going to the Brooklyn Nets alongside Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero, Omer Yurtseven, 1, 2, 3, 4 first-round picks. I'm not sure if they can trade that many. They might have to do a 3-team deal because I know they've got some picks that they owe to other teams, so there'll probably be some pick swaps as well in there. For Kevin Durant, of course. Pretty good trade. I think that the problem is, of course, with the Brooklyn Nets is that they're probably going to ask for Bam Adebayo in this trade. If you don't know, they can't straight up receive Bam Adebayo without first trading Ben Simmons due to this rule where you can't have 2 players on the same rookie extension type contract or you can't trade for one and have 2 of them on the same roster. It just doesn't work that way. So they would have to trade Ben Simmons as well, which would make this probably some kind of 3-team deal. But I mean, if they want to stay competitive, Kyle Lowry, Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero is a pretty good pickup. I don't love it as much as some of the other trade packages is the problem. The Heat don't have a ton of draft capital. If I'm the Nets, I'm definitely asking for Bam Adebayo in any deal. So I think ultimately that's what's going to keep him away from the Heat, is I just don't think they have the trade package that some of these other teams can offer. Connor O'Malley has a Suns trade package with DeAndre Ayton in a sign-in trade going to the Brooklyn Nets alongside Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, and 3 first-round picks. I would assume it would probably take more draft capital, which is always going to be the case in these trade packages because we never really know exactly how many picks are going to be given up, but I think it would probably take like 6 or 7, including pick swaps. The rumor is that the Nets want Devin Booker in a trade package from the Suns. I don't think they give him up. So I think this is a pretty good package they could get. Ayton is a really, really good young center. He was a first overall pick a few years ago. You've got him under long-term control on a sign-in trade. Mikal Bridges is a defensive player of the year caliber guy, a great 3-and-D wing. Cam Johnson is really fun as well. He's young. You could bring in some first-round picks. And those picks could be valuable down the line because Devin Booker is still really young, but Chris Paul is getting older. Kevin Durant is going to start aging. So if you could get some picks in like 2029 or something like that, give it like 7 years when by that time Chris Paul and Kevin Durant are both going to be retired, Devin Booker is going to have gotten a bit older, and you're taking some of their young talent, those picks could be really good in the future. So I would definitely consider this if I'm the Nets. Of course, they are going to ask for Devin Booker, but if they could get this package with not 3 first-round picks, but probably like 5, 6, or 7, this is something I'm definitely taking a look at. Jordan Reed has the Grizzlies getting Kevin Durant and a second-round pick for Jaren Jackson Jr., Tyus Jones, Dillon Brooks, Desmond Bane, and 2 first-round picks. Once again, it's going to take more picks than 2. Secondly, Tyus Jones can't be traded for a little bit because he just signed a deal with the Grizzlies. I'm not quite sure if it's official yet. If it's not, it could still be like a sign-and-trade type thing. But I like this package. I like getting Jaren Jackson. I like getting Desmond Bane. I think they're going to ask for more draft capital. I do really like the idea of the Grizzlies making a move like that, though. I think it would be really fun to pair John Morant next to Kevin Durant. I like the idea of bringing in a guy like Kevin Durant to bring this really young, fun team, raise them up to like true contender status. I think that would be super fun. Of course, you could also just keep the core together, but I like it as a really bold move for them to go for it. For the Nets side of things, I like Jaren as like kind of the centerpiece of the trade package, a young defensive stud. You get a really solid guard in Tyus Jones, who I think should be a starter somewhere. Dillon Brooks is a solid defensive guy. He's got to get a bit better offensively, of course, and Desmond Bane was just a most improved player candidate. So you've got a lot of fun young talent there that you can kind of work with, get some draft capital. I think it's a pretty solid trade for them. Next, we have a Raptors trade with Kevin Durant and Joe Harris going to the Raptors for Gary Trent Jr., OG Anunoby, Thaddeus Young, Kem Birch, and Malachi Flynn, plus 3 first-round picks and 2 or 3 swaps. The Raptors are also very interesting. There's been rumors that apparently they're a sleeper team to pick up Kevin Durant. The question is, though, are they going to be willing to include Scottie Barnes? Because I think it might take Scottie Barnes to get this deal done. Gary Trent Jr. and OG Anunoby are both really solid, but I don't think they move the needle necessarily compared to some of the other young players they might be able to get out there on the market. So, it's a question of, are the Raptors going to hold out on Scottie Barnes? Will they give him up? He could ultimately probably save them a lot of draft capital if they're willing to deal Scottie Barnes. I put a poll on Twitter asking people if they would want to trade Scottie Barnes for Kevin Durant if they're the Raptors, and it was very, very split, almost exactly 50-50, but 54% of people said no. So it seems like Raptors fans and just NBA fans in general really value Scottie Barnes and his long-term potential as a young piece. So that's something that the Raptors are going to have to weigh, but whether they trade Scottie Barnes or if they get away with this package, they probably become the favorites in the East. I think a team with, you would have Fred VanVleet, Kevin Durant, Pascal Siakam, like you have Scottie Barnes. If they got away with this package, you would have such an incredible squad. I like it a lot for them. On the net side of things, if you could get this package, I think it's a pretty good one. I would definitely try and push for Scottie Barnes, but this isn't bad either. Next, we have a Sixers trade package. Kevin Durant going to the Sixers for Tobias Harris, Charles Bassey, Matisse Thybulle, Tyrese Maxey, a first-round pick, and 2 second-round picks. It's going to require a lot more draft capital than just that, but I do think that the Sixers have an interesting package with Maxey. Tobias Harris gives them a all-star, fringe all-star caliber guy. Maxey is a young, up-and-coming star, one of the most electric young players in the league. Matisse Thybulle, a really fun defensive guy. If they could throw in some picks, picks. I think it could be a really interesting trade. I'm not quite sure if these two teams deal again so soon after the Harden deal. They'd have to throw in way more draft capital than this, but I do think the young pieces are interesting enough to have a conversation going. Next, we have one that is very, very interesting, something that someone brought up. I think it might have been Nick Wright. Someone on a sports talk show talked about the idea of do the Nets try and go get KD and Kyrie Irving and trade Anthony Davis. And that's what this trade package does. Russ and AD, along with 2 first-round picks in 2028 and 2026 for Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. It's interesting. On the net side of things, you get Anthony Davis, you get like kind of your star player. You can still try and maybe put something together. Maybe you trade Ben Simmons, or maybe even hold on to him and try and build something around AD. But the draft capital isn't quite there. Russ isn't a guy who's going to really be there long term. He's on a 1-year deal and he's getting older. So I don't like this for the Nets. I think it's a really fun idea to think about, but there's no way in hell this would happen. This would literally break the NBA. And finally, we have the Brooklyn Nets trading Kevin Durant to the Oklahoma City Thunder, and I thought this one was just fun. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, a second-round pick in 2023, first-round pick in 2023, second-round pick in 2026, first-round pick in 2026, second-round pick in 2029, 2027, 2023, 2024, 2025, 2025, 2024, 2025. You get the drill. A lot of first-round picks, and that kind of gives you an idea of just how many first-round picks the Thunder have. If the Nets want draft capital, there's no team that can offer it like the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm not giving up Shai in a deal like that. I would rather give up some of our other young guys, but the idea of Kevin Durant coming back to OKC for $1 billion first-round picks is definitely interesting. So those are my thoughts on some of these Kevin Durant trade packages. Let me know what you would be willing to give up from your favorite team to get Kevin Durant in the comment section below, and let me know where he's going to end up and which of these was your favorite trade. What is your favorite trade destination outside of your favorite team for Kevin Durant? I appreciate y'all watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you did enjoy. I'll see y'all later. Real one, say it back.